She was always in a bad mood until he learned to lead. Today's video, I'm going to break down how exactly one of my coaching clients went from being with a girl who, like I said, was very bitchy, very masculine, into being with a woman who's very feminine and very supportive and is absolutely enamored with his charm and his ability to lead her. Okay, because this is going to be something that any one of you guys can take if you're running into this problem where you've been with a girl, you're dating a girl, you could just, and she's becoming more and more harsh, bitchy. You guys are arguing. You guys are just having these reoccurring disagreements or tension. That's a big one. There's going to be where she's testing you constantly. Any one of you guys out there who has gone through this, or if you are currently going through this, I'm going to break down how exactly my client went from that into now enjoying being with a new girl, and he's starting off on a strong foot. He's leading her because he did exactly the steps that I told him to do. So I'm going to share with you where he was and where he's at now, okay? So let's start with the past and where he was with his ex before to see if any of this stuff is relatable to you. And I think a lot of you guys may be able to relate to this. So he started off on the wrong foot with his ex-girlfriend. And the reason why was because he was texting way too much all of the time. From the very get-go of them starting their relationship, he was always available. He was responding right away. And he was prioritizing contacting her instead of focusing on his life mission and purpose and focusing on what he needed to do instead. He wanted to placate her and answer her and always be available because he had a scarcity mindset and was worried that she might not continue to interact with him if he didn't constantly engage with her. And this is something that I've even had comments in my videos before from guys who are like, if you don't message her all the time, she's going to lose interest. No, that is incorrect. I want you guys to understand that is if you do this from the very beginning, you're starting off on the wrong foot and you're going to set yourself up for failure. And I'll go into why when I talk about what he's doing now. All right, the next thing that he was doing was so the fact that he was always texting and prioritizing her instead of prioritizing his own life mission and purpose meant that this made her the default leader. She was leading this. He was living in her world. He was living in her frame. And he had to constantly play catch up. Like I said, guys, this is why the beginning of your interactions with women is so important. You need to set that tone from the beginning. And he did not do that. So he was constantly playing catch up because she expected him to be now answering whenever she was reaching out to him. And he was basically turned himself into a errand boy because it was like, boom, from the very get-go, he was always there. Once you establish that pattern, it's very hard to break away from that later on. Okay, third, she became bitchy and he tried to explain himself and rationalize with her. So because of the fact that essentially he prioritized contacting her, built his day-to-day with responding to her and always being there for her. This, guys, is what causes women to become bitchy because they kind of see you as, they subconsciously realize that you're prioritizing them over your own life. That becomes very unattractive. Okay. In your mind, you're thinking, I'm being such a gentleman because I'm always there for her. I'm talking to her. I'm answering her every question, everything that she wants to send me reels and send me this, that, and everything. I need to answer everything. If you're doing that, she's going to start to lose respect for you and become more and more bitchy. When she becomes bitchy, you start to rationalize yourself, explain yourself, over-explain yourself. And this is exactly what my client was doing. And the more you do that, the more it's going to make her more irritated. It's a vicious cycle, guys, okay? So if you start off like this way, it only gets worse. Fourth, he didn't put his foot down and he didn't lead, and he was always explaining himself. And by doing that, rationalizing with her, when she was getting in a bad mood because she had lost respect for him. And so what does that look like? It's like little complaints that she would have, frustrations. And he simply, because he established himself from the very beginning as this in a way, an errand boy or just always available, she disrespected him and felt that she could talk to him in any way that she wanted. Okay, so he didn't put his foot down. She lost respect for him, and it was to the point where he could not salvage it. She sees him in that way, and once you move past that point of no return, there's like no way. It's very, very difficult for you to bring back a sense of respect, because if you all of a sudden change your behavior, she's going to think something's weird. She's not going to buy it. It's going to be very difficult for you to do this. Okay, so this is what he had done that ultimately led to the ending of his relationship. Okay, and guys, I want you to be very clear about this. This happens with men of all ages. I've seen, guys as young as 19, 20, all up to guys in their 40s. This is applicable to all men. Okay, if you start off on this foot, bad way to go. All right, currently, he broke up, wiped the slate clean, came on board with me, and here's how things started. Okay, so he started off on the right foot by only texting to set up dates, not to be constantly interacting, constantly chatting, constantly getting to know her all of the time. He prioritized himself. He set up the date, then he got busy with his own life, because he is a busy guy. He has different things to be studying for, his work, his business, and he prioritized those things instead of negating those things just to answer her, to be chit-chatting with her, even though she may have reached out to him. And what this does was that he's setting that tone from the get-go that I do want to see you. You seem like a cool girl, and we're going to get together, but I have my other things going on in my life that take precedence. And a girl, once you establish this from the beginning, she's going to see that and understand, okay, he's making time for me, but he also has other things going on. I want to respect his day-to-day busy life and schedule. And a woman who's with a man who's like this, she's going to feel his energy, that drive he has for his own life, and she's going to respect it, and she's going to be attracted by that. Okay. Second, because he did those things, this made him the leader now that she automatically must follow. He is setting the frame. She has to come in it. It's a beautiful thing. Instead of him going the other way, always answering her, always doing whatever she wanted, it was like, I have this life. I want to see you. Please enter into it. These are the ground rules. Now, he doesn't say this, but because of his behavior, she understands that. Very different persona than what he was doing before. Third, instead of becoming bitchy because he wouldn't answer right away or wasn't available to chat all day, instead of becoming bitchy like his ex-girlfriend, she became supportive, encouraging, feminine, and caring. He built this relationship and this interaction in such a way where the way he was interacting with her showed charm. It was still a fun interaction, but he was also very clear and was able to very smoothly and very charmingly say, hey, I gotta, we'll get together this week for the date, but I gotta get back to my business here. I gotta get back to work. And that brought out her instinct of femininity of like, hey, I wish you the best. I hope you do well this week. Can't wait to see you. And so those were the messages he started to get instead of the ones that were complaining that he had with his ex-girlfriend. Completely 180 shift. His behavior brought out the feminine side of this new woman. Fourth, when he was busy, he playfully and smoothly brought the conversation to a close and left her wanting more. So then on their dates, when they did get together, she was thrilled to see him because he had left her in such a good spot emotionally that when it was time to get together, she was very excited about it. He wasn't getting ghosted or, she wasn't getting her showing up with a bad attitude. None of that stuff that he was dealing with before. So you can see how he went from being very weak, not being a good leader, being accommodating, placating, not prioritizing his own life mission and purpose, to a guy who's leading this. He knows how to interact with her, to set up dates and then get off of the phone. He knows how to, if she does reach out to him, he knows now how to, in a charming way, bring the conversation to a close and continue on his mission and get her rooting him on. And then, of course, when they do get together, she's all about it and cannot wait to see him. So if this resonates with you, if this makes sense to you, then if you're not in a relationship right now and you've done this in the past, then I want you to switch it to the things that I just said that brought him success. If you do this, you will see a girl's behavior towards you change for the better, okay? If you stay stuck in this other thing where you're constantly texting and always there for and all this other stuff, more than likely you're going to experience what he did before and create a bitchy, negative experience with that particular woman, okay? So you can unlearn this stuff, but you have to actually do it. If you're currently in a relationship where the girl is, you've gotten to this point now where she's bitchy, things are on the rocks, you have to switch over to this, but it's going to be more difficult because she doesn't see you in this way, okay? She's going to see you as the pushover type of guy as you were from the beginning of the relationship. When you bring in new behaviors, it's so much more difficult to actually enforce them because she simply does not see you in that way. So sometimes, I'm not saying it's impossible to salvage it, but sometimes it is better just to end it and start with a clean slate, okay? Now, excuse me, if this is something that you've gone through, what I'm saying makes sense, but you still are like, I don't know how exactly to do this, you can book a call down with me below. This is just a consult it's not a coaching call. This is to see if what you're going through is something that I could potentially help you with, okay? So you can book that. It's a free call, just you and I chatting about where you're getting stuck and to see if you'd be a good fit for me to help you change and develop these skills so you're not dealing with that same bullshit that you've been doing up until this point, all right? Also, if you just want to do some more study on your own, kind of get your feet wet a little bit, I have a free guide down below called the Gentleman's 12-Point Guide to Dropping Panties. A great guide that walks you through 12 characteristics that are absolutely essential for all men to have. And if you start living and embodying these traits, you will see a difference in the way women treat you, the way they interact with you, and the way you interact with women as well, okay? All right, guys, that is it for this video. I'll see you in the next one.